heard her knocking just the other day. I saw a picture, but I couldn't see her name. She wore high heels, little black lace. I knew her body, but I couldn't see her face. She didn't leave an address, not a cover or a clue. But something in this podcast, it reminded me of you. Baby, let's jive till tomorrow night. Jive it up and jive it right. Heavy metal news and lots of fun. So come on, everybody, let's get the runs. Taco Bell. You wanna jive, baby, come on and baby, let 'em jive. Welcome one and all back to another tantalizing edition of Jive Talkin with Shane Diablo. What do we do here? You're the first time here, you're new here. You're like a young sailor off a ship coming into a seedy bar for the first time, and you're looking for love, you're looking for fun, you're looking for a good time, but you don't know what's going to happen here. Let me tell you, we read heavy metal news stories of the week. We do this every week because I'm fascinated with hard rock and heavy metal, and if you hang out on this channel long enough, I think we can fix that for you too, and you'll be interested in it as well. A lot of fine folks out there. We got your comments lined up. If you want to be part of it, you can listen and watch on Spotify. You can listen and watch on YouTube. If you want to be on the next episode of the show, not requesting songs, but having your thoughts and opinions on the stories of the day, you can go to the YouTube video for that episode and put your comments down there. But we're here. We're here now. Let's breathe. We're here now. We're in the present, all right? Let's cut out the bullshit that's going on around you for the next 45 minutes or so, and just let's focus in on what really matters. Paul Stanley. There he is, Paul Stanley. He's got that, he's saying, look, I'm 70-something years old, I'm still sexy. I've got the guitar pick. It's got coronavirus all over it. I've stuck it on my tongue. Now I'm sticking my tongue out to show you in my little vest. Paul Stanley on Kiss Farewell Tour. We can see the end now. Finally, they can see the end of the road tour. During a new appearance on Australia, oh boy, Australia's The Project. Kiss frontman Paul Stanley discussed the band's end of the road farewell tour, which is scheduled to conclude in early December in New York City. He said, as transcribed by Blabbermouth, well, it's interesting because we can see the end now. When we started to plan this, it was probably about 5 years ago, and the pandemic came into play, and we lost a few years. We've done 250 shows on this end of the road tour because it's a long road, and they kept paving more road. But this is it for us. It's finally come to an end of the paving where it turns back into dirt and gravel, and that's where we're at right now. And intellectually, yeah, we can't continue doing this. We're in our 70s. Hard to believe. It's hard to believe. But for us, it's just reaching a point where we realize we can't do this. Wait, I'm not going to read it. You can't do it because you could go on forever if you didn't have the big boots on. If you didn't have the costumes and outfits on, you could go on forever. Let's see if he says it. We're in our 70s now. It's hard to believe. But for us, it's just to reach the point where we realize we can't do this indefinitely. We're really at the top of our game still. And now it's the time to do a victory lap and go out there with our heads held high, say thank you to everybody, and do a show that really encapsulates and really pays tribute not only to us, but to the fans. Kiss's final run of shows will wrap up with a massive concert in the city where it all began for the legendary rock act, New York City. New York City has been part of the band's ethos and storyline for more than 4 decades, so they felt it fitting to culminate it an iconic rock and roll Hall of Fame worthy career on stage at New York's famed Madison Square Garden. That's where they go. I heard Billy Joel does concerts every Tuesday night there. He's like, I'm not going to tour anymore. I'll just sell out Madison Square Gardens every week or every month. Kiss launched its farewell trek in January 2019, but was forced to put it on hold in 2020 due to the COVID-19 pandemic. You ever heard of that? Where was that at? COVID-19 pandemic, where was that? I never heard a damn thing about that. End of the Road was originally scheduled to conclude on July 17, 2021 in New York City, but has since been extended to late 2023. The trek was announced in September 2018 following a Kiss performance of the band's classic song, Detroit Rock City, on America's Got Talent. And if there is one place where people have a lot of talent, it's on that show, located in America. Kiss's current lineup consists of original member Stanley, guitarist, vocals, and Gene Simmons, bass and vocal, alongside later band additions, guitarist Tommy Thayer since 2002. That really puts it into perspective, right? 1 year after 9/11, he joins the band. But before that, for years and years and years, he quit a really good thing. It was called Black and Blue. He was the guitar player for a band called Black and Blue. But Gene Simmons produced their record and told him, this band's never going to go anywhere. You should quit the band and be my assistant. And that's exactly what he did. And Black and Blue was a great band. And had they kept going, they'd probably be up there pretty dang high. And drummer Eric Singer, on and off since 1991. Formed in 1973 by Stanley, Simmons, Peter Criss, and Ace Frehley, and Ace? They're atheists, Frehley. Kiss staged its first farewell tour in 2000, the last to feature the group's original lineup. That's the last time that I saw him, was on that tour. And I said, that's not Peter Criss playing the drums, because they kept panning that camera into the face. And the kid had dark hair. And then Peter Criss came out for Beth, and he had a short little gray bob. And everyone was like, up yours, dude. It is Peter. And no, Peter's in the building. I'm just telling you, that's not him on the drums. In a recent interview with Yahoo Entertainment music editor Lindsay Parker, Stanley was asked whether he thinks it would be emotional for him to play the final Kiss show. Paul said, more so than I know. There's going to be some tears shed, for sure. You got to remember that Gene and I started this together when I was 17 and he was 20, 21. It's 50 years later. We've lived pretty interesting lives, and we have families and children and huge bank accounts. No, huge sales in terms of albums and concerts. So it's a big part of who we are. It's a big part of our lives. So that final show, that's momentous. It's going to hit harder than I think you know, than we know, than anybody really knows. And we know it's going to hit hard. I mean, Gene's never cried a tear in his life, right? So at the very end, when they go in for the deep tongue kiss and the hugs on stage, and everyone's you're going to be choked up when you see it happen, because, they're amazing band. We just like to have fun with them and silly and goofies on them. Asked whether the last concert of Kiss and the Road tour will truly mark the band's final performance of if it's ever in the chance of one-off shows or in Las Vegas residencies in the future. Is this it, or are you going to do something? What does Paul Stanley say? I really can't say, but it is the last of any kind of regular shows or touring. Now I haven't read it. He's got, at some point, there's two things that you need to know. At some point, Paul Stanley will say, we could do this like the Rolling Stones till we're 95 if we didn't wear the makeup and the costumes. And Gene Simmons, anytime anyone says, hey, flick your tongue, he says, well, I would, but the floor is dirty. It's just time. It's just time. And in the same way, it's time consuming. And physically, it's grueling to do what we do. What? Huh? Hell. If I could go on stage in my jeans and a t-shirt, give us another 10 or 15 years easily. But what we do is a whole different sport. We're athletes. We're running around on stage with 30 or 40 pounds of gear, and it's not possible to do it that much longer. So we're not like other bands. They never really are, right? They're always bigger and better than everybody. So, we will do more shows or one-offs. Will we do more shows or one-offs? Ooh. I really have no idea, Paul admitted. But this is a real clear mindset that the touring days and doing those kinds of shows, that's over, people. That's over. So there you go. There's that. Blaze Bayley. Have you ever heard of this guy? Blaze Bayley. Look at that. He's like that Bashar. He looks like Bashar. Have you seen that guy? Bashar? He's like an alien. Puts his hands like this. And then he channels this alien man from another place, from another equinox or another portal. And people get up there and say, Bashar, I can't quit smoking. What? Sure you can. You already have in 5 different lifetimes. That's what this guy looks like, Bashar, a little bit. But much more handsome. Blaze Bayley, if you're listening, you're much more handsome. Blaze Bayley says, Iron Maiden is the most important heavy metal band in the world. Thank God for not saying the universe, you know. Bashar would have said Iron Maiden is the most important heavy metal band in the universe. In all 7 vectors. In a new interview with Sound Mojo. That's a nice name for a podcast. I should change mine. Sound Mojo with Shane Diablo. Inner Sleeve Music Podcast. Former Iron Maiden singer Blaze Bayley spoke about his balance honoring his time with the legendary British heavy metal band during his concerts, while also promoting his more recent solo output. As transcribed by Blabbermouth, well, I'm very lucky in a way. Before I joined Iron Maiden, I was an Iron Maiden fan, and I knew what happened to the singer of Iron Maiden and from Kiss ex-members of Kiss. What? I was an Iron Maiden fan, and I knew what happened to the singer of Iron Maiden and from Kiss, ex-members of Kiss band like that, huh? You will always be associated with that band, that famous band. If you played with Ozzy Osbourne or whatever, you'll always be associated with those guys, and so I was ready for that. I was friends with the guys in the band. I'm still friends with the guys. I go and see Maiden bass player Steve Harris with British Lion. And I always saw Maiden twice on this tour. Oh, we also saw him. And I also saw Maiden twice on this tour. Of course, I had to pay for the tickets, but that's besides the point. And said hi to the guys. I had to buy the expensive backstage passes at an extremely expensive price, but I had to go back there and say hello to the boys. I got what is to me the top job, the #1 job in the world of my profession. That is being the singer of what I consider to be the most important heavy metal band in the world. I've been lucky to have had that. To have spent 5 years, not 4, not 3, but 5 years with Iron Maiden. 2 albums, a few B-sides. I'm incredibly lucky. He continued, for me, it's a matter of pride. Where I come from, where we are in the world of heavy metal, you look back at where you come from. Ronnie James Dio, when he was alive, he always acknowledged where he came from. And for me, as a metalhead and as someone who sings in this genre, it's important to say, yeah, I come from there. That's part of me. That's what made me who I am. I'm not going to say, oh, this has nothing to do with me. No, that part of me. But this is what I am doing now. So when you listen to my latest solo record, War Within Me, you will find the love. You will see that I am battling myself between my love for myself and my solo band and from Iron Maiden. What you're actually hearing is this huge influence from Iron Maiden and my songwriting on my voice. This influence that comes from way back in the day when we started with Wolfsbane. Those bits and pieces. You listen to War Within Me, and you've got this part where I have been. It's all there. It's fighting suicidal thoughts. It's looking at people who overcome the impossible and going, well, if they did that, maybe there's a chance I can do that too. So that's where I am. I love guitar melodies. I love electric guitar. I love harmony guitar. I love big drums. All of that. So that's what's on my album. The 60-year-old Bayley fronted Iron Maiden from 1994 to 1999. The two Maiden albums he appears on, The X Factor and Virtual XI, sold considerably less than the band's prior releases and were their lowest charting titles in the group's home country since 1981's Killers. Since leaving Iron Maiden in 1999, Bayley has released a number of albums, including several under the moniker Blaze, and more than a handful under his own name. He also appeared on the 2012 Wolfsbane Saves the World, the first album of new material from Wolfsbane since the group's self-titled 1994 effort, and the follow-up LP 2022's Genius, because I, Blaze Bayley, am a rock and roll genius. Blaze's latest album, War Within Me, came out in April 2021. Jesus, I thought it was coming out, not. I thought the way he was talking there, it sounded like it was on its way out. The LP was recorded during 2020 with the work split between Blaze Studio at home. Oh, he's got a home studio that he's doing all right in the West Midlands, and Christopher Appleton's studio in Greater Manchester. 6 months ago, Blaze underwent a quadruple bypass surgery following a heart attack. We're very happy. He's looking very slim in this photo. I don't want to see what this video is all about, but he's looking very slim there. Very, when you get more blood pumping, it works for you. Dokken here. Let's get into this ever so quickly because he's talking about people criticizing his voice. It's punching down. As I think about it, I do a lot of commentary, parody, funny, goofy on heroes of my youth. Is it punching down? Is it having a giggle, a laugh? I try not to goof if it's like health concerns and stuff like that, but I mean, where do you draw the line, right? Well, it says here, Dokken to fans criticizing his vocal performance. If I can't sing the way they remember me, then just don't come to the show then. Let's see what he's got to say about it. I mean, I love the guy, and I really do try to steer away from goofing on people if they're having some kind of medical and stuff. He says he's numb in one of his arms is completely paralyzed. In a new interview with Sean Ratchets of Laughing Monkey Music, Dokken frontman Don Dokken spoke about the difficulties he had preserving his voice as he gets older and the issue he encountered trying to reproduce Dokken's classic material in a live setting. He said, as transcribed, I have a lot of complaints. I've had a lot of complaints. I see fans when I go, the kiss of death, and I hit this B flat above A, this super soprano note, and I wouldn't hit it. And you see people go, well, hey, you didn't hit the note. I'm like, dude, I've done like 3,000 concerts in like a motor car. It's getting worn out. His voice is like a motor car. I mean, I don't know, man. There's some people that still got them voices going, though. It couldn't have been drug abuse, right? He continued, when you're in your 20s, I don't know if you're going to have another record or another hit or anything. I don't know. So here I am just singing up in the high register. I was trying to copy Rob Halford or all those bands like Klaus Meine from the Scorpions, which ironically, here's a fun nugget if you didn't know this, Don Dokken he is on the demos for the Blackout record because Klaus Meine goes in for throat surgery and Don Dokken recorded the demo cassettes for the Blackout record from Scorpions. If you didn't know that, there you go. See, you're learning a little bit too. He's trying to sing So High But you go on the road for half a year and you do 400 shows, a year and a half, and do 400 shows and five albums, and then you start like me. I'm husky today. Just for, well, I don't know if you're husky. You're a bit more than husky. My mom used to call me husky and big bone. You're just husky. I say, the kids say I'm fat, Mom. She says, you're just husky. You're big bones. You got big bones in there. I'm husky today, just from talking to everybody. You got to use a different word. Rusty. And that's just the way it is. And you get older. I'm 70, man. And some of these fans go, I've had people say, Don needs to give it up. He can't hit the high notes. I'm like, let's see you hit the high notes 24 years old. Go ahead. Go for it. I mean, 70 and he's out there still on stage. I hope for that. As you get older, when you hit the middle age, there is a midlife crisis you go through. Because at some point your brain starts to go, okay, let's count how many years I have left. You know, before you don't even think about that. So it's very uplifting to see Rolling Stones and Don Dokken and guys like that, even Kiss, still up there doing it at their age. Because you're like, okay, well, that's something that I can kind of hope for, is I can put some makeup on and do a Kiss cover band when I'm in my 70s or something. I've had people say, Don needs to give it up. He can't hit the high notes. I'm like, let's see you do it. Don went on to say there would still be the naysayers even if he sang perfect like he did in 1983. My daughter used to go on our website and we used to have an open forum so anybody could say anything they wanted. And a guy called Acorn stuck in his brain, man, when he goes to bed at night. Goddamn Acorn from the message boards is stuck in there. Because just to whip that out, a guy called Acorn who didn't even use his real name, and he made a comment when he goes, I went to 5 Dokken shows this summer and Don sucked. Why would you go to his website to say that? You do that just so he can get eyes on it. You don't just post that on your YouTube or your Twitter or your whatever. You go to his website to say, he sucked. I saw him 5 times. Why'd you pay 5 times? Why did you pay 5 times? What is it? Once, twice, and 3 strikes, you're out, right? When did you come up with the 5-strike rule, Acorn? That does not make any sense to me. I'm going to pay good hard cash 5 different times to see a guy whom I'm going to say on his message boards, I don't like him. I went to 5 Dokken shows this summer and Don sucked. And I went, then why'd you come to Don's answering right now. Then why did you come to 5 shows? Thank you, Don. And my daughter would fire back. And we finally blocked him. And I said, sweetie, you've got to remember, this guy works at Subway. And he makes tuna sandwiches all day. Well, they do have turkey. Let's not just pinhole Acorn into saying that he just makes tuna sandwiches. That's actually one of the easiest Subway sandwiches you can make. He also makes turkey, he makes ham, he makes roast beef. So let's not do that, Don. Don't stoop to his level. Makes sandwiches all day, and he was this new thing called, and there was this new thing called the internet, and he can go on and post whatever he wants. Because I wasn't censoring. And that's their way of getting attention. Then you get the people to say, screw you, and I agree with you. Don said that he plans to keep going until it's not fun anymore. And he had a special message to those Dokken fans who are disappointed that he can't reproduce his vocal performance from 4 decades ago. If I can't sing the way they remember me, then just don't come to the shows. I've got no problem with that. Back in April, I'm going to tell you a quick story because it just popped into my brain about Don Dokken. So he comes to my town, right? He comes to the town. This is a good one. This is a good story about Don Dokken. So he comes to town. We recorded some demos at this studio with this guy. And he along with recording studio, I'm a mixing, I do shows and stuff. I do shows. So a buddy of mine was his kind of apprentice. You'll be my apprentice, and we'll mix the shows, and you can learn how, you can see how it's done. Well, he gets a gig with Don Dokken's band, and I guess Don Dokken, the first couple of songs, is trying to give this guy gestures, going, "Hey, fucking down, this and that," right? Because it stinks. The sound stinks from Mr. I know everything. I've got a recording studio. I'm a mixing guy, right? So he allegedly, I wasn't there, stops the show. My friend says he's standing next to Guy, and Don Dokken stops the show and says, "Let me help this fucking sound guy out that doesn't know what he is doing. Find the main channel." So he's check one, turn the mids down, put the and he's telling him what to do. Bass at 6, mids at 5. Fixes the freaking sound on the board from the stage. And he said the dude was so fucking destroyed because he's such a cocky guy about he's Mr. Mixin' Man. And then in this room with hundreds of people there, Don Dokken tells him he don't know what the hell he's doing. Back in 2022, ex-Dokken bassist Jeff Pilson addressed Don's vocal issues in an interview with Tulsa Music Stream. He said, "Well, listen, to be fair, not all vocals keep their range. You don't have a lot of Glenn Hugheses and Ronnie Dios out there in the world whose voices seem to just never get affected. I can't sing like I could 35 years ago, so you've got to keep that in mind. With that, I hope Don takes care of himself. I hope he can keep singing for as long as possible, and I hope he and his has a little bit of breakthrough. I know he's had a lot of health issues, and it's just a lot of issues." Well, what's your issues with him, Jeff? So there's a reason why he's probably had some difficulties. But I wish him all the best. I wish him all the best. I really do. And I think he's just a wonderful guy. And when it's working, it's a unique, magical voice. When it's working. When it's greased and lubed and when his voice is working, it's a unique and magical voice. So I hope he has less problems in the future. There you go. Don previously talked about his vocal issues in a 2020 interview with Anti-Hero magazine. At the time, he said, "Yes, it's been a problem. We get older. Our voices are not like they were when we were 27, 30, 35, or 40. Okay, we're done with that. Dave Mustaine. Okay, you got Timu Mantasari playing with him now. Kiko's home with his kids, remember? Kiko's taking time off with his kids. And Dave Mustaine had already mentioned how he was kind of reminiscing when Marty Friedman got back together again. And now what's Dave saying? Dave Mustaine praises Megadeth's new touring guitarist Timu Mantasari. He plays a lot like Marty Friedman. And he was ruminating and reminiscing about his times with Marty Friedman. You can watch this video. I don't know if I might have done a video autopsy on it, but there's a clip of Dave Mustaine. I don't know if it's real or fake, but I think Marty Friedman was dating a girl in Japan. They're in a cab. Dave Mustaine is sitting next to Marty Friedman. Marty Friedman's reading a note, and I guess there was some kind of a breakup or something that happened. Dave reaches over, grabs the love letter or whatever, throws it right out the window of the cab. Get in the comments if you know the ins and outs and ups and downs and behinds of that, and then you can also tell me if we did a video autopsy on it. I vaguely remember that. In a new interview with West Styles, Megadeth leader Dave Mustaine spoke about the addition of new guitarist Timu Mantasari, Winter Sun, and Smackbound. Timu is filling in for band's longtime axeman Kiko Loureiro. I don't know why I can't say that name. Loureiro. Is that it? Loureiro. Kiko Loureiro. Who announced earlier this month he would sit out the next leg of Megadeth's Crush the World tour in order to stay home with his children back in Finland. Asked how Timu is working out so far, Dave said, as transcribed, "He's really great. And I'm super excited with the Timu has brought. And it's uncanny because he plays a lot like former Megadeth guitarist Marty Friedman. And it's really exciting. At certain times, I just close my eyes.
and I think about him naked. I close my eyes during the set, and I hear these songs played, whether like Kiko in the past or Timu now.
Kiko in the past and Timu now?
It just sounds really magical because these guys have learned these songs, and they're not just going out there and just banging their guitars around. They're actually learned the solos from some of the virtuosos that I played with over my career.
Megadeth played its first concert with Mantasari on September 6th at the Revel in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The 36-year-old Mantasari was born in Tampere, Finland, and began playing guitar at the age of 12. That's a good year to start. In 2004, he joined the band Winter Sun. He also has been a member of Smackbound since 2015. Loureiro officially joined Megadeth in April of 2015, about 5 months after Chris Broderick exited from the group. Shortly after Loureiro's addition to Megadeth, Mustaine called him
definitely the best guitar player we've ever had. His comments
echoed those he made about Broderick during that latter tenure in the band. Back in 2013, during the making of Megadeth's Super Collider album, Mustaine wrote in a tweet that Chris was,
without a doubt, the best guitar player I've ever played with.
Mustaine told Revolver magazine that finding Loureiro, can we say Kiko? Let's get back to Kiko, was really a mind blower. It was the first time since Marty Friedman joined the band
that I thought I was really intimidated as a player.
Intimidated.
He's such an amazing talent. He's been coming in with all these fresh ideas, which I keep, of course. Mustaine added
that Kiko was a good fit personality-wise. Chris Broderick and I had
good chemistry, but we weren't really close as I would have wanted us to be.
Mustaine explained.
Kiko, I feel like I've known him for years.
In 2009, Mustaine praised Broderick, saying in an online interview,
I'm going on record now, and I'm going to say unequivocally that Chris is the best guitarist Megadeth has ever had. And the real talented musician in Megadeth's alumni will agree. He is an absolute monster. I mean, he plays the catalog better than anyone did.
Jeff Young never wanted to do Chris Poland stuff. Oh, see, they're tickling each other's taints there. Because Jeff Young will snap right at him. You watch, Jeff Young's coming. Just from that little comment right there they put in Blabbermouth, he's coming.
And so on until the latest guitarist we've had before we disbanded over my arm injury.
Mustaine added,
it's funny because just when I think Broderick can get no more outrageous or any more thrilling with the guitar solos, he comes up with something really beautiful, like Marty Friedman would do. He has Marty pretty well down pat, and then goes into the GIT style.
What's the GIT? What's that?
What is that? Git style? That Jeff Young did, yet there is still such a freshness to his playing, and he is so raw, it's like having a new prize bull. And even though he ain't such a young bull, he's definitely an old bull, like me.
There you go, and there's Davey Mustaine.
What do you mean I don't believe in God?
Yeah, we love Kiko, okay? But we're loving Timu, too. Did you see that video I did? I put it up last Friday. We watch him play and see what's happening. Very quickly, guys, and then we're getting into your comments you find in Fantastic Freaks. Psycho Mike Muir, suicidal tendencies. Fell down the orchestra pit. I did a short about it. Yeah, during You Can't Bring Me Down. You can't bring me down. Right down the pit. They're always singing a song about down. I don't know the song that Vince Neil was singing, but he was saying something about going down, and then he went down the orchestra pit. Chad Gray from Mudvayne singing Falling down the pit. You Can't Bring Me Down, Mike Muir. Now, he is a skate punk legend, thrash-tastical punk legendary guy. He's still at it. He's got back problems and everything. We're going to watch 2 quick clips of him fall right down the pooter. All right, let's go. Come on, you bugger. There he is. He wants to get through that monitor. Boop, there he goes. Down.
What the hell are you trying to say? Jesus.
This guy says, oh my Lord. This guy right down here, he says, oh my God. Mike Muir has killed himself, everybody. Jesus. Because he's old too, right? He's an older dude. Let's watch that just one more time. Here we go. There he goes. You notice that Suicidal, they're so talented, these guys up on stage, they didn't even bat an eye. The guy that's paying our paychecks down there, he just went down the shitter. But let's just keep rocking. This kid on guitar looks like he's 15. That's not Rocky, I'll tell you that. Here's another clip of it. Nope. This is the first song of the set. And Mike Muir's already sopping wet. Will you shut the fuck? That's not. Okay, he's going to come through. Get the camera back. You can't. He missed it. This guy buffled it. This guy buffled it. See, there's that big guy. This big guy right here, that's him. He baffled it. He missed the whole thing. Let's go. Cat. Yeah, the whole band's just like, yeah, no big deal. It's Tuesday night, no big deal. Let's get into your comments, my fine and fantastic freaks. This is the most important part of the podcast. It's the funnest part of the podcast. We get your feedback from the last episode. Let's do it now. Mike Buchanan right here. He's got his goodies. Thanks for the birthday song, Shane. You are too kind. Last week we sang happy birthday to him. Let's get into the movies that are bad, but we love them anyways, the horror edition. And I will say, you guys, no one else is going to know this, but you guys that are paying attention. But, I mean, I'm essentially a king of horror punk. I mean, not a king, but I was in a horror punk band for years. So I have a plethora of horror bands. Friends from all over the world and artists that we will be featuring along with your reactions, on the channel, the reaction portion of the channel. Maybe not the first listens, but the weekly reactions. I'm throwing out a bunch of horror for the month of October. So anyone that's paying attention to this will know you're going to see videos popping up every week of October that are horror-related bands. And it's not the big ones. It's not Misfits and Lordy and Wednesday 13. I'm talking about horror punk stuff. Movies that are bad, horror edition. Here we go. I decided to go back to I wanted to make sure everything was still recording. I did this weird thing with my hands and I hit something. I decided to go back to the root of all things bad in the 1950s in the movie The Brain Eaters. I decided on this movie for 2 reasons. First, it's set in Riverdale, Illinois. And second, it's Leonard Nimoy's first credited movie. Oh, he was credited as Leonard Nimoy. A strange cone wedge in the earth in a small Illinois town is the suspected cause of residents disappearing. Crawling, slimy things, terror bent on destroying the world. I'm just so bad at reading. Crawling, slimy things, terror bent on destroying the world. If you are into black and white B movies from the 1950s, this one's for you. I would also say if you're into the song Black and White by Michael Jackson, listen to that too. You can if you want. Not sure, this is Mike Buchanan, not sure if John 5 can resurrect Motley Crue from Destination Fucked. He put F'd. It's like sticking a Rolls-Royce emblem on a 1980 AMC Gremlin and expecting it to be polished, to be a polished diamond. And no, we don't need a cover of Fight for Your Right. While that song had its day, the Beastie Boys didn't shine until they dropped the rock and went full rap. Another fun nugget for you guys out there. I'm dropping these but I believe the Fight for Your Right to Party guitar solo's done by one Kerry King, because Beastie Boys recorded with what's his name, long hair hippie man, Rick Rubin. And, Rick Rubin had worked with Slayer and Danzig and all that, so Kerry King was the one that put the solo on it. I think he's in that video, too, isn't he? The long-haired dude playing the guitar, I'm pretty sure. It's been a while. Still Mike Buchanan. So on Whitesnake or the David Coverdale solo band, neither Vivian or Adrian recorded anything for the 1987 album. John Sykes, before he left the band, lead and rhythm guitars. Okay. Yeah, because that shit was... Okay. Were they in the videos? Vivian and Adrian never recorded a note for any Whitesnake album. Adrian was credited but did not record, so he wrote... Adrian Vandenberg wrote tunes but didn't play them, right? Steve Vai played them, right? Adrian was credited but did not record for the album Slip of the Tongue. And that would have been the record that Steve Vai was on. Still Mike Buchanan here. Does the world need another Bruce Dickinson solo album? Sigh. You're going to dump on me when I say that, and I'm just not a big fan of Iron Maiden. Oh, sigh. And you're going to dump on me when I say that. When I say that, I'm not just a big Iron Maiden fan. Never have been. You know what, Mike? I am not going to take a dump on you. Anytime I'm taking dumps like that, there's usually a glass table involved. No, different strokes for different folks. I get it. I know people that only like the Paul Di'Anno stuff, or only like the Bruce Dickinson, or don't like him at all. So, hey, that's just fine. It's okay. You're still a good person. Still Mike Buchanan here. Does the world need another Stryper album? ? For me, the band lost their signature dual guitar sound eons ago. It's what set them apart. They did have a pretty plush, delicious double guitar thing going on, even through In God We Trust and all that. Always there for you. And now it's time for the jokes, the Jive Talkin jokes of the week, courtesy of Mike Buchanan. Shout out to the people wondering what the opposite of in is. I just read that Victoria's Secret and Smith & Wesson are merging. They're calling themselves Titty Titty Bang Bang. I like that. Victoria's Secret and Smith & Wesson, the Titty Titty Bang Bang. Why did Batman cross the road? Find out next week. Same bat time, same bat channel. I used to love that old TV show. I mean, I was watching it in reruns, but man, it was on syndicated or whatever, and I watched that. And now my brains are shit, so I don't remember hardly anything from it. Remember the Batman movie? That's where the shark repellent and all that. I told my cat that I'm going to teach him to speak English. He looked at me and said, "Me? How?" Did you know that boomerangs are Australia's biggest export? They're also Australia's biggest import because they come back. I used to just castanate, but then I decided to go pro. Oh, I used to just crastinate, but then I decided to go pro. If there's one thing that I can do is butcher shit. Butcher people speaking, jokes being told, anything. And finally, do you know what? Do you know that if you watch the movie Jaws backwards, it's about a shark that keeps throwing up people until they have to open a beach? That is great. I'm keeping that one. I'm gonna tell that one to work, and watch him just grimace at me. Sticky Doll coming in here. They got a video. Well, let's see what they say here. There's a link here. 62-year-old Vince Neil is going to tell us we have to fight for our right to party, ? Okay. That is absolutely the lamest cover song choice they could have ever chosen. Oh well, Motley Crue are millionaires, and we are just podcasters and live streamers, right, Shane? I don't know if I'm any of those, quite frankly. I'm trying to be. Hey, we even pimp your show on ours sometimes because we love you so damn much. They do? I'll click that link later because it'll shoot all this off. But you're getting a thumb, and someone else gave you the thumb. So there's two of you on the Sticky Doll show. There's a thumb for both of you. Now I got to give Mike Buchanan a thumb too. Jeez, Mike. Miss Althea coming in with some stuff for us. We did, what video did we do for Miss Althea this week? Up to the Limit from Accept Live. She called that one in. 1-800, Shane Diablo. The Dumbstruck Fool says, first and foremost, happy birthday to Mike B. In true bad movies we love anyway, Mike B tradition, I will throw in 1981's horror clunker, Happy Birthday to Me. Is that half? Okay. Starring Melissa Sue Anderson of Little House on the Prairie. Melissa Sue Anderson, that's not the main chick. Is that the one that was blind? And Glenn Ford. And does anyone remember the new wave song Happy Birthday by Altered Image? I guarantee you that I've heard it. In heavy rotation on MTV in its infancy. Miss Althea, you're king of the convenience store quandary. Yes, because they call me king when I go in there now. And I don't. And here's another interesting fact: is I hit several, and apparently the family owns a couple of the 7-Elevens that I go to. And I'm afraid now that that's going to... If you run into this guy, so then everywhere I go, people are calling me king. But Miss Althea might have an answer here. You're king of the convenience store quandary. I say roll with it. Or should I say taquito, roll with it. That's a convenience store staple, right? Yes, the taquito. What kinds do they have? They have the chicken Monterey. They have the steak. They have the taco. They have some kind of a cheese and peppers or jalapeno. But she says, embrace it. You spoke in the moment, and while the proprietors may not have understood the joke, you certainly did not mean any disrespect to yourself or to them. Not to me, for sure. I didn't mean any disrespect to me. Even if you did clarify your given name with them, I would be willing to bet they would, in an endearing way, combine it and start calling you King Shane. I mean, which has a nice ring to it, I think. See? I mean, I think I'm going to let it go. I'm just going to go. I think I'm just going to just not say any more about it. Even though King Shane would be great. Miss Althea on Motley Crue. Much like Rob Halford and Doro Thing, do we really need a cover of Fight for Your Right to Party, especially from those guys? Having flashbacks of their pointless rock against drugs ad spots. Oh, I remember them. I think we might have done a video autopsy on those too. Those old drug ads with the rock stars. Besides which, the only acceptable alternative version of the songs that has been forever emblazoned on my brain since 1991 is the live jam by Warrant, Firehouse, and Trickster, the grand finale showstopper on Blood, Sweat, and Beers tour. We did that, didn't we? Am I freaking out here, or did we do a video autopsy? Miss Althea brought that up, that when we did a video autopsy on them doing that. R.I.P. Janie Lane. Miss Althea on Whitesnake. I also have no recollection of Viv Campbell with that band, but again, and as always, I am not a fan of Whitesnake, so I don't care. If anything, I got a little giggle out of the story centering around two dudes with gender-neutral names, Vivian and Adrian. In fact, Adrian was also at the top of my list of baby boy names. If Den and I ever had a son. Oh my God, I almost read that wrong. Adrian Hunter, to be specific. I read that almost completely wrong because I was going to say Adrian Hitler. Adrian Hunter, to be specific, on the philosophy that if the kid grew up to be a rock star, he could use his middle name as his last name. Yeah. I know you. I'm sorry, but my brain's, it's like I see dead people. Miss Althea on Saliva. It takes me a minute for my eyes. This is why I don't read. This is why I do audiobooks when I'm want to hear a book. It's because my eyes just, maybe there's a name for that, where the eyes just don't want to go to the next line. They're not smart enough to go to the next line. Miss Althea on Saliva. Hey, look at that. Another gender neutral name with Josie. All I can think of is Josie and the Pussycat. Yeah, Pussycat. That was a long tails and ears for hats. That was a cartoon, wasn't it? In the side-by-side photos, I actually thought it was the same guy, just from different eras. So, yeah, just get everyone, get your metrosexual shit together and be done with it. See, that would have been funny, but I butchered it. You know what a metrosexual is, right? I don't think it's a bad term, is it? It's not a bad term. It's just someone who's heavily coiffed. You know, they got the creams, they got the lotions, they got the hair did, they got some streaks in it, a couple streaks in the beard, jangly and... Oh, heavens to Betsy. What's she saying about THC Groove? Bullet Boys. THC Groove is one of my all-time faves from the Bullet Boys. Their second album. Do they have a video for that? Freak Show was underrated in my opinion. Flashback video, question mark? All right, I'm tagging you on it. So they do have a video for THC Groove. If that's the case, I'm tagging you on it. I know this is no request zone. Great minds think alike. I know this is no request zone, but who's your girl? Ha! Yep, I'm doing it. Miss Althea on Bruce Dickinson. The story was lost on me because all I kept hearing with the album name was The Man Bun Project. Yeah, he's got that. I do the man bun now. I'm ashamed to say it because I always went, look at the guy with the man bun. But, I mean, here's my little elastic thing right here, which I've already stretched to high heaven with clops of my hair in it. Miss Althea on Striper. Bonus points for riffing on Groove is in the Heart. Still one of my all-time favorite dance club jams. It was not vicious or malicious, just lovely and delicious. If you haven't watched that, it's funny as all get out of town, but she's an English lady. Her name's Crunk something. Hillary Crunk. Hillary Swank, something like that. Crunk on Earth. It's on Netflix. Every episode she brings that song up. I think it's Pump Up the Jam that she keeps bringing up. So forget everything I just said. Miss Althea says, I would be interesting in hearing their take on that song, actually. Okay, we're doing this all again. It was not vicious or malicious. Let's see, Striper. Bonus points for riffing on Groove is in the Heart. Still one of my all-time favorite dance club jams. It was just vicious. It was not vicious or malicious, just lovely and delicious. I would also be interested in hearing their take on that song. Striper doing Groove is in the Heart. That would be great. I did enjoy their cover of Earth, Wind, and Fire's Shining Star, so I think they could pull it off. They did that song? I could hear him. You're a shining star, no matter who you are. All right, there's your heart, and you're getting a thumb. The thumb is to verify, and I'm going to do the THC Groove. And Otis Driftwood, by God, where have you been? What have you been doing? Where have you been? Does anyone care about new Motley Crue songs? Question mark. I think not. Well, there he goes. And he got a thumb, so he's getting another thumb. All right, that's it. That's it. That's it. We're leaving. Let's see what we can do here. Let's see what Daddy can come up with you, what delicious delights I can come up with for you. Yeah, baby. Yeah. Shit. Pump up the jam, pump it up, get it working now. Jive Talkin with your friend Shane, having a little fun, going insane. Pump up the jam, jive it up, get it jiving now. Jive, motherfucker, jive, jive, motherfucker, jive, motherfucker, jive, jive, motherfucker, jive, jive, motherfucker, jive. Come on, baby, 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 let's jive.